What's up? Welcome to my instant reaction. Thanks for being here. I'm Grant Cohn. I'm in Glendale, Arizona. The 49ers just took belt to bottom against the Arizona Cardinals. The Niners are now 7-4, and they are the front runners to win the Super Bowl because beating the Cardinals proves that. No, I want to be sincere. This was a really good win for the 49ers. Last week, George Kittle called a shot, said this team can score a lot of points and win games that way. They did it. 41 points. And I was thinking, like, before the game, given that Arizona has lost 6 of their last 7 and they just gave up 44 as a team to the Seahawks, who are good, but they lost to the Rams today, you figure, like, why can't the Niners score 44? And they did. So that's great. The defense gave up 22, which is not great. I mean, they won by a lot, but still we're not just going to give the 49ers a pat on the back for beating Arizona. They're supposed to beat Arizona. Arizona's dead. But we're not going to disparage the 49ers for beating Arizona because they took care of business and a win's a win. But let's actually dissect what we learned from this particular win. It reminded me a little bit of their win over the New York Giants. You beat a team that's clearly inferior to you. You won by a lot. What does it prove? Well, let's talk Brock Purdy. I think it was a very encouraging performance from Brock Purdy, given what his performance against Jacksonville looked like. He looked like a practice squad quarterback against Jacksonville. Why? It wasn't just the fact that he lost his mobility. He couldn't throw a football accurately. That was a big problem. In this game, I thought he absolutely could throw footballs accurately. He wasn't floating passes high. It seemed like he could drive enough. He didn't have the arm strength he had maybe last year, but it wasn't a hindrance. So that's the good for Brock Purdy. As a passer from the pocket, he could throw like he used to. And I thought, like, one element that he adds to the offense that Mac doesn't, at least from a Kyle Shanahan play calling standpoint, is Shanahan likes to and does a good job moving the pocket for Brock. So he'll call play action stuff, but he'll call play action with a rollout to the left or a half rollout to the left or a roll to the right. He does that a lot, and Brock's so good at it. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league at throwing on the run, particularly while moving left for a right-handed quarterback. A lot of times, like Jalen Hurts, I don't know that he can do that. He can throw while running to the right. Most right-handed quarterbacks can. So that's a nice element. It adds something to the offense. I mean, he's a smaller quarterback. You can't see him all the time in the pocket, and when you move him around, it makes it even tougher. So that was all good. It's good to see Brock Purdy be able to throw the ball like he can, like he has. The not so good from Brock Purdy, I think it was pretty clear that the mobility wasn't there. I mean, let's look at his numbers. He ran once for -7 yards. That's not Brock Purdy. So was that Brock Purdy out there today? It felt like, I don't know, what do you call that? 80% of Brock Purdy without the running is what? This. And today, again, he was great. Quarterback rating of 133, 3 touchdown passes, no picks. But if we're not just box score scouting, and I hate to be a nitpicker, but since they played the Cardinals, I gotta. So Brock threw 2 passes that could have gotten picked. They were what you would call turnover-worthy plays. Cardinals dropped them. Happens to every quarterback, happens to Mac Jones. So does that mean that he's not ready to play? Nah, because the way I look at it, that's what 100% healthy Brock Purdy does. I mean, he did look a little hesitant in the pocket when it came to scrambling. Usually he doesn't hesitate at all, but in this case, it seemed like when he did hold the ball longer, kind of like he felt indecisive about whether he should go or whether he should run past the line of scrimmage. It almost felt like the team told him, or he told himself, I'm not running past the line of scrimmage today. I'm just going to protect myself. And maybe that's smart. Or you could, scramble for 5 yards and slide every once in a while. But I do think it's interesting that Kyle Shanahan said Brock's not going to be 100% healthy the rest of the season. What does that look like? I think it's going to look like this game. A quarterback who can complete 70, 75% of his throws because there's some wide open people. I mean, he completed some throws to guys who were wide open. George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey in the end zone, Jawan Jennings. I mean, not Ricky Pearsall, but Kyle Shanahan did a good job scheming it up. And when you have that many playmakers on the field at one time, usually someone's going to be open. We never got to see the other quarterback play with Kittle and Pearsall on the field together. but it's not like Pearsall did anything in this game. So you'd like to see Brock Purdy not put the ball in harm's way so much. And it's not just, I mean, every quarterback does it. Matthew Stafford's had years where he's been too turnover prone, but I think in this game, first, like the reason I bring it up is because the game was really over in the first quarter. The Niners let him hang around, but it was clear which team was better. And the only way the Niners are going to actually lose this game is if they turn the ball over. And it feels like with Purdy, the reason the Niners like him so much, the reason why the Niners seem to think that he's better than Mac Jones is because Mac Jones doesn't really hunt for the big play. Now, I've seen him in training camp. When he has deep threats on the field like Ricky Pearsall, he's a really good deep ball and he's aggressive throwing the ball down the field. But when he was on the field, when he was in the game for the Niners the first half of the year, Pearsall wasn't out there. There weren't explosive field stretchers. And, as we know, the offensive line isn't great. And he needed to stay healthy because Brock was out. So he checked the ball down over and over and over again and won 5 games that way. Clearly, the Niners don't want that to be their identity as their offense. Brock Purdy comes back. They love that about Brock Purdy, that he's trying to push the ball down the field. In this game, he didn't really connect that far down the field, but what he does is gives the play a chance. Whereas Mac gets the ball out of his hands so he can avoid negative plays and keep the chains moving, which is certainly an effective way to play quarterback. Brock has a flair for the dramatic, which is what we all love about him. It's clearly what his teammates love about him. And all I would say is, sometimes they're going to need that. And sometimes, maybe Brock Purdy can give the Niners a gear that Mac Jones can't get into with that playmaking ability. But against the Cardinals, and again, not nitpicking a win, great win. Against the Cardinals, you don't have to take those risks. Next week against the Panthers, probably don't have to take those risks. And it'd be nice if Brock would stop. You've been watching Mac Jones. You see how he does it. You could play like that. You could be a little more risk averse when it's smart. Because I just feel like with Brock, has enough experience. He should know the difference. When to do it, when it's necessary, when it's... Steve Young knew the difference. Jeff Garcia knew the difference. Brock's a lot younger, but he's also in his 4th year here. And he hasn't played in a while, so I'll give him that. And as the season goes on, I'd like to see him find the balance here. But the thing about Brock, when he does turn the ball over, it's often on first down. I think his gauge of when to take the risk is a little off. So again, this critique that I'm giving tonight is not, let's not even call it a criticism. They won by a lot. And Brock Purdy's a hell of a quarterback. I'm trying to do my quality control thing. The offense was good, but it's Arizona and they need to get better. So I'm giving them things they can work on, helpful things that they can work on. And with Brock, it's know when to take the risk. I know you want to differentiate yourself from Mac and put yourself in the conversation with Mahomes and Josh Allen and those real serious elite playmakers. God love you, man. I love that you shoot for that. Mac Jones doesn't seem to, even though he's a hell of a quarterback. But, there's just a couple plays in this game where he got lucky. The other team dropped the ball. And if they're playing a team in the playoffs, can't do that. Because probably not going to get so lucky in the playoffs. I think there were some aspects of Brock's performance, the Niners' performance in this game against this awful team that made you think, I still don't know if this team can score their way into a playoff run. Maybe they can. It seems like having Christian and Kittle and Jennings and Pearsall on the field together is pretty potent. And, can you imagine if they even got Kendrick Bourne and Jake Tonjes involved as well? That'd be pretty cool. So what grade would I give Brock Purdy for this performance? Given the opponent, given the lack of mobility, given the 2 turnover-worthy plays, but also given his accuracy and his 3 touchdowns. Oh, man. I hate to be a hater because I don't hate him. I would give it a B+. A B+. Maybe you would put him in the A range. It was interesting. After the game, we asked Kyle Shanahan, what do you think? And you can kind of he uses the words he means. If he thinks a player had a great game, he'll say he played great or excellent. If he thought he had a B game, he'll say he played good or very good. And he said Brock was good. And I would agree. Brock was good, certainly good enough to win, but he wasn't really the full Brock. And Partial Brock against Arizona, I'd put him at a B plus, which again makes me a huge freaking hater. And I'm sure Brock wants to slap the taste out of my mouth. B plus? How dare you? Anyway, this is what it's going to look like the rest of the season with Brock Purdy. Not a lot of scrambling, protecting himself, throwing, not always from the pocket, rolling left, rolling right, but really staying behind the line of scrimmage. And the question is that better than what Mac Jones gives you? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Would Mac Jones have put up 41 tonight? I think he might have. And I think what's interesting about this game, where they scored 30, 41, 50, didn't matter. They were going to win. They would have won this game with Adrian Martinez as their quarterback. Not to take anything away from Brock, just to put it in perspective what this win means. It means they took care of business, but they could have taken care of business in a lot of different ways against this team because 17 penalties. The Cardinals played like a team that was actively trying to get their head coach fired, or they were playing like a team that was just like extremely poorly coached. And maybe that guy just deserves to get fired. But I got to give the Niners credit. They played the Giants a couple of weeks ago. A week later, Daboll fired. The Niners are doing a good job of this is what they do at their best. Just put people out of freaking business. And this Niners team isn't that great, but they beat the Cardinals week 3 with Mac Jones. The Cardinals have never recovered. They've now lost 7 of 8 since losing to Mac Jones. Maybe that's an underrated aspect of having Mac Jones as a quarterback. That dad bod, that laugh, that lack of athletic ability. Losing to him, I think it hurts your pride and your confidence more than losing to Brock, because Brock is a good athlete. He can run around. He makes a lot of money. When you lose to Brock, it's like, well, I was supposed to. I mean, he gets paid $53 million a year. But when Mac, with that Mickey Mouse laugh and his complete lack of muscular definition, beats you, even when he scores 16 points, I think it's tough to come back from that. So it's something to keep in mind, the Mac Jones effect and what it does to a team's morale. Anyway, it was good to see Brock Purdy back, not suffering any setbacks, knock on wood. Let's see what happens overnight. Sometimes these Niner players go home and come back the next day and it's a different story.